This morning, we want to kick off a weekly series of stories on gardening. Right now in the Anchorage area, many people like me are hardening off their plants, and sometimes it can be a real pain.
But as Channel 2 photojournalist Jessica Hoffman found an expert who will show us a way to do it that isn't such an ordeal.
Welcome to Gardening Tips. My name is Mel Monsen. I'm one of the horticulturists at the Alaska Botanical Garden, and today I'm going to talk to you about hardening off plants. Memorial Day weekend is traditional planting out date for most gardeners in south central Alaska. Generally, people buy their plants in 6-packs or potted plants at the nursery, and they haven't been hardened off. And you need to get them hardened off before you plant them out, or you could risk sun damage, wind damage, or even cold temperature damage. The traditional way to harden off plants in Anchorage has been to move your plants in and out every day, making the time period that they're out longer each day. Sometimes this requires coming home from work at lunch. It requires bending over and moving a lot of plants back and forth. It's just not very convenient. I'm going to give you a simple tip that will save a lot of back-breaking work. It's called floating row cover. This is kind of a lightweight blanket that lets air and water and sunlight, most of the sunlight through, but it blocks the UV for the most part and protects the plants from wind. But all they are is a spun polyester that's somewhat translucent, that passes light. It costs between $10 and $20. It's fairly inexpensive and it lasts for years. It's very good. It's better than any other product. If you used plastic or visqueen over it, you can damage the plants because the heat will build up and there's no wind going through, no breathing. So this floating row cover is very good for this process. What you do is you'll move your plants out and you cover them with the floating row cover, tucking it under the edges, and it'll hold it in place. And for a couple days, you just leave them out with the row cover in place 24 hours a day. On the third day, what you can do when you get home from work is uncover the floating row cover, just peel it back and expose your plants for a few hours of the full elements, the full strength elements. The sun, the wind, the temperature. Then in the evening before you go to bed, you can just pull the cover back over and your plants are protected again. Do that for a couple days, then maybe on the 5th day, uncover them completely while you're gone for about 8 hours during the day. Do that for a couple days. Then on the 6th or 7th day, uncover them completely for the full day and they're ready for planting out. So you'll have a very well hardened off plant and you'll have a nice healthy back. You won't have moved them in and out every day. And you'll have plants that continue growing, no growth check, and they'll be blooming at least 2 weeks earlier. Join us next week for another gardening tip.
That's some great ideas.
It is indeed. I love it.
We're going to have that on KTUU.com in case you didn't catch all of them. You can watch it over again.
Right.
Next week, Mel's going to have some more tips on actually planting.
He takes it to the next step.
Very
so
cool.
Look forward to that next Thursday.